This is Kurt Papke. I've lived in Arizona for over a dozen years, and I spend days out in the blazing sun hiking. Yet I never wear sunscreen, and I rarely get sunburn. In fact, my dermatologist tells me my 68-year-old facial skin is in great shape. So how do I do it? Stick around and I'll tell you.
Combining expert content on outdoor adventures with videography tips and tutorials. Visual Adventures with Kurt Papke.
Just so there's no misunderstanding, I am not advocating for exposing your skin to sun. I've had several basal cell carcinomas and a suspect mole removed from my shoulders that were caused from Florida sunburns in my youth, and our skin accounts for roughly 1/3 of diagnosed cancers. I'm going to show you how to cover up to protect your skin and to stay cooler as a side benefit. Our skin is the largest organ of our body, so why would we want to plug up our pores with sunscreen? Plus, sunscreen wears off after a couple hours as it gets all over our clothing. And in my experience, many people do not reapply it as often as they should. And how often have you heard someone say they got a patch of sunburn because they missed a spot when they applied their sunscreen? Tip number 1, no wearing short pants.
So never wear shorts, always long pants. Now, how do you stay cool with long pants in the southwestern desert? Let me show you a trick. These are REI Sahara convertible pants, and they can be partially unzipped at the top here. And now I have this nice, there's my nice leg brace. Now I have this nice opening here that will let nice cool air and ventilation into my legs without overheating and without getting sun on my lower leg. So REI Sahara or whose ever brand of convertible pants, and unzip the front half. That's my trick.
Now, I will unzip the bottoms when I'm hiking in water like in Aravaipa Canyon, but I'm careful to get out of the sun as much as possible. Tip number 2, always wear a sun hat to shield your face and ears. Yes, I said ears. Sunburned ears are incredibly painful, and trust me, I've had it happen. I prefer wide-brimmed hats because I like the way they keep rain off my face. But sometimes I wear one of these OR baseball caps that have a cape to protect the back of my neck. Never wear a plain baseball cap like this, because your neck and ears will burn. On this 2008 thru hike of the border route, I wore a baseball cap for a week in northern Minnesota and got terrible sunburn on my ears. Tip number 3, always wear lightweight hiking gloves to protect your hands and wrists.
So not long after I moved to Arizona and started hiking here, I noticed I was starting to get freckles or age spots on the meaty part of my hand here on the top. And it took me a while to figure out why. And what I eventually figured out was that holding the trekking poles like this all the time, I always use trekking poles, this part of my hand was always facing up. It was always in the sun. So as a result, this area, although it wouldn't get sunburnt, it got suntan after a certain amount of time here. Those age spots started to form. So I started wearing these hiking gloves. They're pretty nifty. They're very, very lightweight, very cool. The Outdoor Research ones are the ones I started with. And they're the lightest, but because the fabric is so thin, they wear out pretty quickly, especially if you're using trekking poles all the time. So now I use these glacier gloves, and these have leather on the palm of the hand, so they will stand up to abrasion from your trekking poles, yet they have the open fingertips so I can operate my phone or my Kindle, and I can tie knots. I have the dexterity I need in order to do things. And the tips of my fingers are not going to get horribly burnt because they're fairly well protected when I'm hiking with trekking poles. So always wear hiking gloves.
Tip number 4. Always wear long sleeve shirts. I use lightweight breathable shirts pretty often, but also like these LL Bean fishing shirts because they have these nice chest pockets for glasses. In cold weather, I like long sleeve merino wool shirts, but they do get holes in them very quickly if you do any bushwhacking or where they rub against a backpack shoulder strap. By the way, the worst thing you can wear is a vest. I wore this one hiking in Colorado a couple of years ago, and I got really painful burns on the backs of my shoulders. Side note, when you're hiking at high altitude, it will be cooler, so you might be tempted to uncover a bit. Don't do it. The higher you go, the less UV is blocked, and you'll burn even quicker. If you're a skier, you already know this, only too well. Tip number 5, no sandals without socks. Did you know that between your toes is one of the most common places to get skin cancer? I used to occasionally hike in these zero sandals in areas that had a lot of water crossings, like shown here along the Highline Trail in Utah's Uintas. But now I always wear these Injinji toe socks because they keep me from blistering, and they can also be used perfectly with any kind of sandals. Tip number 6, use a neck gaiter like this buff, particularly if you're using a shirt without a collar. It'll keep your neck from getting burnt and can protect your head from bugs. If it's really hot, you can wet it down in a stream or with water from a water bottle, and the evaporative cooling will keep you cooler by conducting heat away from your carotid artery. Tip number 7, wear sunglasses like this. They won't protect you from sunburn, but they will slow down the development of cataracts in your eyes as you get older. And sunscreen is not going to protect your eyeballs. Tip number 8, use high SPF lip balm, like this lip armor. I have sunburned my lips several times, and I can say from personal experience that it is really painful. When you're hiking all day long in the dry desert, you need lip balm anyway, so you might as well use some that has some UV protection. It's especially easy to sunburn the lips during the winter, when the sun is lower in the sky and comes underneath the brim of your hat. Tip number 9, consider using a reflective sun umbrella. Many Arizona trail thru hikers use these, in particular during the hotter months because it keeps you cooler. The shade they provide allows you to continue to hike during the hottest times of the day around noon, but they will also keep sun off exposed skin. The downside of these is they cannot be carried if you use 2 hiking poles. You don't have 3 hands, so there is that trade-off. My last tip isn't so much a sun issue, but I highly recommend using lightweight gaiters in the desert Southwest. They keep your socks and feet cleaner and keep pebbles from getting in your shoes. I particularly use them on water hikes because they keep the sand from filling up my shoes, but if you use shorter socks, they'll also keep your ankles from getting sunburned. Hey, I hope you found this video helpful to get out on the trails safely without using sunscreen and without getting sunburned and damaging your skin. If you did, please take a moment to click like or subscribe down below. Thanks for watching.